Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric on our continuing series, The Unported Playlist, where I take a look at my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're taking a look at Super Puzzle Bobble on the Taito GNet. Now this is not the same as Super Puzzle Bobble on the PlayStation 2, but it does get confusing. This is a GNet exclusive arcade game, and therefore it qualifies for Unported Playlist. Before you get too far involved, though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support that channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I absolutely love Puzzle Bobble, from the Neo Geo original all the way up to the newest entries in the franchise. They're always super fun. But I have a particular soft spot in my heart for Super Puzzle Bobble on the GNet because it's a mix of Puzzle Bobble 4 along with some new assets and elements, but they really drive home the puzzle aspect in this game. There are so many great boards, there's so many fun mechanics, so many different things you need to deal with in the screen space. This is an absolute blast to play. It is by far my favorite Puzzle Bobble game outside of the Neo Geo original, and this one's probably technically better than that one, but nostalgia makes me love the Neo Geo MVS version the most. And you'll see right here on the board as is, we have two options. We can either kind of arc them in, bounce that ball around the corner, or we can move the ball launcher from one end of the screen to the other. It gives you more than one way to basically figure out every single level and go from there, and I absolutely love these tiny bubbles that grow as you hit where they're finally going. It allows you to tuck them into spaces that you normally wouldn't be able to squeeze through, and it adds just another layer of complexity to an already very simple to learn, very hard to master game. Like right there, if I had just gotten that bank shot correct, I would have been able to clear the entire board and I would have had a higher score, but I missed two shots. Just getting to the end of a level in Puzzle Bobble is not the end-all be-all. Doing it as quickly as possible and maximizing your score really is where the fun comes in. This is a great speedrun game if you want to see how quickly you can get to the end with your highest score possible, but do be aware that if you take a continue, that's the end of it. And learning this game is going to take a lot of time because each board has its own mechanic and something different going on. And I love that you get these 3D models just in the overworld area where you pick your route, but then it goes back into traditional 2D Puzzle Bobble, because the GNet was just a PlayStation 1 and a Namco System 12 with extra hardware underneath it, and that's why it has that very big PlayStation 1 look. And it's interesting this game never came to the PlayStation 1, it would have been a ton of fun. Now, as far as I can tell researching this, it's never been released anywhere else, but maybe it's on some obscure PlayStation 2 compilation disc from Taito. There's so many of them out there. Leave me a comment if you've ever seen it outside of arcades. I'm 99% sure I am correct here, but you never know. And you'll see there that bank shot with the blue puzzle bubble? I don't know what they're called. Are they bubbles? Are they orbs? It's actually a good question. Hit it in just the right spot and you get to clear the entire play field. That's what I love so much about this franchise and about this game in particular. It's that one shot that will completely get you to the next round. You have to be perfect on it, but when you are, the sense of satisfaction of being able to clear the playfield with that one well-placed shot is such a good time. And I love the GNet hardware as well with the compact flash cards the games come on. It's just a really fun kind of pivot of PlayStation 1 hardware, and it is a fun thing to collect for. I don't know that I'd recommend buying a motherboard and this game. It's quite expensive. I bought mine when it was cheaper, but if you really love this series and want to have all the games, you can do it. And you will see there I did take my first loss, and every time you lose, you get that little trajectory thing going for you. But I will say that this is the type of game that you can play for 5 minutes and walk away from and feel satisfied, or you can sit down and end up being there for 3 hours. This franchise has been around forever at this point in time, and there's a very good reason. As far as arcade puzzle games are concerned, it is Puzzle Bobble and then everything else underneath it for me. I always call it Puzzle Bobble. Sure, you can call it Bust a Move, your choice. You'll see that we have these fun big orbs as well, and I totally screwed myself over and blocked that orange big orb out, so now I have to fight back to get it. You can make mistakes in this game, and those mistakes are costly. I could have been done with this board already, but instead I screwed up. But I will say, it's Taito, you know it's got to have a great soundtrack, so now that we've gotten that orange ball in there, go ahead and listen for like the next 45 seconds or so, and I'll come back and talk more about this arcade-specific version. Enjoy! I mean, how can you not like Super Puzzle Bobble music? And that kind of feels like Taito decided to take the concept of elevator music and make it into video game music. And I mean that in a good way, not a bad way. It's super soothing and it's just there to kind of make you happy while you're trying to figure out the puzzle. And Taito always has great arcade music in my opinion, and Super Puzzle Bobble is no different. And of course you can do 2-player on this as well, but for me, Puzzle Bobble's always about the 1-player puzzle mode. I love learning the boards, I love figuring out what's going on, and I love just continuing to play for high score. And you'll see there on that yellow bubble, I just missed that angle. If I had hit it, I'd almost be out. And that's the thing, every single mistake you end up regretting. That was a good shot there, but 3 shots previously I had the chance to be done with it. And the quicker you get out of a board, the higher your score is. And that's why this game is so incredibly addicting. It makes you want to get better, and I absolutely love that. Again, had some bad shots with the purples there, and now I need to recover from where I was, and that's always just fun. Again, I wasn't looking at the colors that I had coming up next, and I could have squeaked that black orb into the master black orb in the middle, but it kind of read as silver to me. Every once in a while I will say that the silver and black does trick me. I'm not colorblind whatsoever, but if you're not looking closely, you can end up getting into a situation where you're in trouble. But this is where I love the game, when you're so close to losing, but you can finally get out if you are careful. You'll see here, just don't do something like this, stupid move, it makes you lose. I just showed that because I always thought it was funny. You could get that bubble stuck down there just kind of bouncing around. And again, it's some janky 3D on the overworld map, but if you know anything about me and my channel, janky 90s 3D makes my heart beat just a little bit faster. And there is the expert puzzle mode as well, and this just keeps getting harder. There are so many boards in Super Puzzle Bobble. This is the type of game that you buy and you can literally play it for years, an hour or so a day, just getting better and better at it. So maybe in that respect, buying a GNet motherboard with this game would be a great investment. If you love the series, this game has a ton to offer. But this is a series that has so many entries, and I have done my absolute best to try to get every single Puzzle Bobble game ever made. There's still some gaps in my collection, but I have like 15 Puzzle Bobbles at this point in time, and every single one of them makes me happy in its own right. You will see that we get into a situation where there is this staggered stage. It is blocking you, and you need to figure out how to bounce that bubble up there correctly, because you'll see when that bubble's moving, you can't do anything else on the board. So you really want to be careful because you are wasting time, and this is where the game gets very complex in a very fun way. Trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing here. It's hard, but if you hit it just right, you can thread that little needle and knock that color out. But now, sometimes waiting is the name of the game when you get yourself into a spot. You'll see here that we've got the silvers, we've got the reds, but we need one more red to bounce up into that corner to be able to take absolutely everything out. This is what I love about this game. It's just pure strategy, and it is so much fun. I love learning these games. This game gives me the same sense of satisfaction as a good shmup, where you're trying to learn everything that's happening, understand where your timings are, and what you should be doing next. But to get to a 1cc state on this game is going to take an absolute ton of practice. You're going to have to memorize a route through the board, and you're going to have to be able to play perfectly on every single stage that you go through. A single mistake is going to blow a 1cc run later on, but that's the fun part about this game. You could literally learn it for years and continue to have fun. And like I said, it's not a game that many people talk about much whatsoever, because if you look up Super Puzzle Bobble, you're 100% going to get the PlayStation 2 release, which is a fun time, and I highly recommend that one as well. But for my money, if you're going to play one Super Puzzle Bobble, you should make it the one on the GNet, because sliding that red orb in there and getting it just right, that's such a great sense of satisfaction. That's what I always come back to in these games. When you're playing them well, it makes you feel good about yourself. Being able to succeed, you know it's either live or die on your own talent and nothing else. If you make a mistake in this game, it's because you made the mistake, not because the game screwed you over. But that's Super Puzzle Bobble. Barely anyone knows this exists because the PlayStation 2 version takes up all the oxygen. For that, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.